Today is day 1 of quarantine. They say that we should be in quarantine for 2 weeks, but they said that last time too, and that was when Corona happened, so who knows. But I thought I'd document it just in case something crazy happened, like last time where we went from 2 weeks to all of a sudden years. All they've really said so far is that we shouldn't leave our homes at all, which is the part that really gets me. Because what does that mean? They said that food would be dropped off at our doorsteps and that we should not open the door for anyone, including family, which is crazy to me. Because number 1, why can't we leave? And number 2, what is this disease? All that they've said at all is that there's no cure yet. And that if you feel sick and your veins start to turn purple, to immediately call the emergency number shown on every screen at all times. It's always in the corner of every screen. It's just some random number that I'm always kind of tempted to call because it's a phone number that I've never called before. Why not give it a shot, you know? But then again, probably not the best idea to call someone waiting to hear about someone who's dying, you know? But either way, it's been 2 weeks since we've been told that we can't leave. And 2 weeks ago, we were told that it would be 2 weeks. Now, it has been much longer. Well, it could be. Today, it was announced that it could be as long as a month. I'm starting to think that this is just like COVID. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and I don't quite know what to do, because all my friends are out there. Everything that I care about is outside of my house, and I can't stand another day inside this thing. Not only that, but my best friend, and basically my brother, is outside. Well, not outside. He's at his house. But either way, I'm lonely. We call all the time, but it's not the same. Even when I did see him, we weren't the huggy type. But now that I haven't seen him in what feels like forever, I wish that I could hug him, talk to him, tell him anything. So, Jonathan, if you're listening, please, for the love of God, just don't get sick. Anyway, I don't really have much to say other than that. But what I do say is that I've run out of books, and I've run out of YouTube videos, and I've run out of Netflix shows, and our power is starting to go, and so is our water and food, because apparently the government is trying to restrict them to save them in case we need rations or something. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't really watch the news. I probably should, as I am an adult, so I should probably be looking into adult things. But either way, I think that as long as I'm out of here within the next month, we should be good. But either way, I'm tired of this. They won't even explain what it is. All I know is that if you have purple veins and start coughing up a lung, you should probably go to the doctor, which you should have done even before this thing started. Either way, there's still no cure, which is strange, to say the least. Because with COVID, they at least said, hey, we think we can make a cure, but with this, they don't. Another thing is that I am talking to my phone that I am then putting onto a DVD that hopefully someone will find eventually. My mom told me about COVID, but considering that that was forever ago, I figured that this could be the next COVID, and no one else seems to be recording it, so I might as well. My friends think it's stupid, but I think that I am a genius. Because, I mean, it's 5026. You know, what's the big deal? I mean, why not? But either way, my neighbor's house got torn into yesterday. Apparently there was someone who was infected there yesterday. They made a really big deal about it, though. It was kind of scary, but I don't really understand most of it. The most I got is that they did their best to keep the infected away from everyone else. But, I don't know, they looked strange. But either way, I guess this is goodbye for now, and I will update this the next time that anything happens. Hopefully it will be before the end of the month, where I can say, we're finally out of our house and I am just being stupid with recording, but who knows. Anyway, deuces, losers. I don't know. Hi, it's me again. I'm Ezrin, by the way. I don't know if I ever said that actually, but it's been a month since I updated. It's worse than I thought. We've been told that there's still no plan for a cure. And the infected are being broadcast on every network, everywhere. It's like they're not even human. It's scary, actually. Not only that, but the government has been very careful about curfews. They said that no one's allowed out after dark, which is terrifying because just the sound of that makes me shiver at the thought. But either way, my friend Jonathan and I are still texting, calling, FaceTiming every chance we get. But one of his family members went out past dark, and they haven't come back since. It's been a day and a half. He's kind of freaking out, and I don't know how to help. They've been asking people to join the government. They asked my dad to join. My mom, too. My dad joined willingly, but my mom was eventually told that she couldn't because she is hard of hearing. And they need everyone to be healthy as possible, whatever that means. My dad comes home and he's not allowed to see any of us. He's put in a separate part of the house and leaves from a separate part of the house. We talk through windows. I haven't actually hugged my dad in forever. Me and him weren't close in the first place, but this is a whole new level of distance that I'm not completely used to. And not only that, but the people who get sick are no longer just people who get sick. They're now deemed the infected, also known as to be shot on sight. It's at the point now where they're roaming the streets. They're so skinny. It's strange. But you don't see them often, really. I mean, You see people, but that's it. It's hard to figure everything out right now. School is still technically on, although I don't know anyone who's doing anything, but either way, it's happening in the background. I don't even know if anyone's ever going to hear this. I mean, I'm putting them all on a DVD and hoping for the best, but if someone does find this, hi, I'm Ezrin. I'm 18. And I have 4 brothers and a sister. My sister and one of my brothers is older than me, and 3 of them are younger. I have a niece and a nephew. For now. That's my family. Unless someone gets infected. Well, other than my parents. I have a mom and a dad, but we're not really close, and my dad is not really home. I have 2 best friends. Alex and Jason. Well, technically his name is Jonathan, but I call him Jason to piss him off. I call Alex Purple because she has bright purple hair, and because it matches her perfectly. Recently, there's been a lot of worrying signs that this whole thing is going to turn into something much scarier. Like the fact that now tanks have started rolling up and down the streets. As soon as it starts to get the slightest bit darker, to tell everyone that curfew will be starting in X amount of hours, and that once you are out in the dark, there's no telling whether you get hurt because of the infected or whether you get hurt because they didn't stop to check. It's only been a month and a half, but this seems to be getting really big. Scientists are still studying the infected beyond anything I've ever seen. They have them in cages on the news. They look terrifying. They have people's faces, but it's different. They're gnawing at the bars. It's almost like they're zombies, which is completely crazy because zombies aren't real. Not only that, but I mean, the year is only 5036. The last time that something like this happened was COVID, and that started in, 2020? Or, as my mom calls it, Satan's ears. I don't know what that means, but she seems very serious. But either way, I don't really have anything else to update, but if I have anything else, I'll be sure to update. I hope that I don't have to update. But for now, things are going not great. So, wish me luck. Hi. It's Ezrin again. I am recording this, I think, 2.5 months later. And let me tell you, if you did wish me luck, it definitely didn't work. Things have gotten 1,000,000 times worse. There was a mass outbreak. It was at a school. It was awful. And the thing is that we're still being told that we can't leave our houses. But at the same time, the military is having a hard time keeping staff, as apparently they keep getting infected. My dad hasn't been home in a couple days. I don't know if that means that he got infected or maybe he's just busy, but I don't like the idea of him not being home. They've started cutting off power, water supply, things like that, but they've also started cutting off ways to contact other people. I call my friends when I can, but there's no guarantee that we'll be on long before the connection is completely lost. I'm not really sure what's happening. But at this point, people are starting to leave their houses again. So maybe this is just getting back to normal. But apparently it's not just in America, it's everywhere. It's in the UK. It's in every single place. If you look at the news and scroll through every single part of the world, there is someone who is infected on the news. They stopped identifying people who got infected. They don't ask if you know the person or not. They are just thrown in an unmarked grave, which is the hardest part about this. Because if my dad is gone, I will have no clue. The government is being told that it's every man for themselves, as a group. So, if a man gets left behind, and it's either go back to get him and risk a mission, or leave, you leave. I like to think that he's okay. I've started sneaking out of the house every now and again. I like to sneak into the library, grab a couple books, and head back home. My mom doesn't know, neither do my family, but either way, it's not hurting anyone, right? I'm not quite sure whether or not this is a thing that I should get more worried about or not, but people seem to be leaving the house more often than they did before. Although the world looks a little different. Number one, the sky is a completely different color, which apparently when my mom was younger, the sky was blue, which I never understood. Now it's almost always orange, but recently it started to turn purple. I don't know what that means, but in my head, all it means is that it's bad. I don't know if that's just in my head or whether that's a fact, but if I put common sense and my opinions together, I tend to just believe that they're facts. But either way, it also smells so bad. The infected don't smell great. As you can imagine, a person who has lost complete control of their mind doesn't exactly keep cleanly. But either way, I'm worried a little bit about my mom finding out about me leaving the house, but it's just books, and if I see an infected, then I go in the opposite direction. You don't really see them around a lot. There's not many, because people are still stuck inside. They said that we could leave our houses in about a week if we start to wear masks, and that if we see an infected, we call the number on every screen everywhere, which is almost impossible considering that there's no signal. So my mom says even when that happens, I am not to leave the house. But she's also the same woman who left the house when she wasn't supposed to during COVID. So my grandmother says that she left the house even though she was told not to, but that she wore a mask and was safe. So, if I wear a mask and I'm safe, then I think going out should be perfectly fine. In total, it's been about 4 months since the first infected was spotted. We still have no cure and no hope for one either. But either way, for now, I think that we're okay. But I say that and then things tend to get a whole lot worse. So I guess for now, I should say things are pretty shitty. We'll see how that one goes. Anyway, I'll report back anything else that happens. It's been 2 months since I last reported. I'm Ezrin, by the way, if you couldn't tell. 3 days after my last recording, we got a message from the government letting us know that employee number 562 had passed away. At first, we didn't know what that meant until eventually they started putting pictures along with the numbers. You see, I didn't know my dad as a number. I knew him as a person. He didn't make it. Now, they don't care how healthy, how young, or how old you are. You go into the government. They took my mom and said that I wouldn't be allowed to join. I have issues with my bones. And I got it from my mother, but she doesn't have it as bad as I do. So I am unable to help. Which is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. I lost a parent because of this. Not only that, but now school is training all of the students on what infected are, how long it takes for an infected to turn into something completely unhuman, or how to fight off an infected, because apparently you can't just hope for the best when going into that type of situation. I'm not even allowed to go to those lessons anymore. I've started accompanying some family friends to the science labs. It's interesting. I've always been a science geek, but especially now, this is so intriguing. Well, yes, it's 5036. It is clinically impossible to have something like this, right? I mean, there has to be some way that we can cure this. These are 100% zombies at this point. Their bodies can decay completely. They have no heartbeat, no blood pressure, no nothing. Their bodies are long and stringy and smell of decay, but yet, the government says they are not zombies, but infected. I'm fighting for a place in the science lab. If I can't fight the war, then I have to be part of the science. I'm smart, really smart for my age. I could help, even if it's something as stupid as just making sure that the zombies don't do something stupid, or, excuse me, the infected, as they call them. But I say they're zombies. Either way, the worst part, though, is that this disease doesn't discriminate. Whether you're young or old, it doesn't matter. I was in the science lab the other day. There's a 3-year-old that was infected. It got really bad. She's been put in this type of metal box with glass that is unbreakable in some ways, so that you can watch. They gave her her favorite doll when she was first infected. Her mom used to come in a complete suit of white plastic, whatever the hell, and sit there and sing to her. Now, she refuses to play with her toy. She doesn't do anything other than scream and pull out her hair. The other day, she started gnawing on her leg like a dog. She refuses to eat anything except for raw foods. Her teeth have started to fall out. It's the most gruesome sight I've ever seen. She almost looks like a Barbie doll that was played with a little too much as a kid. But at the same time, this is a person. I used to watch as this little girl was sang to, rocked back and forth in her mother's arms, and now she just sits there screaming day and night. She doesn't sleep or eat unless it's completely raw, and there's no cure still. They say that they can't keep her much longer. That if we don't figure something out soon, that there's nothing else we can do with her. That we've analyzed as much as we can analyze, and if we don't find anything sooner rather than later, then she will have to be put down, as they say. It's such a gruesome term being used on humans. I never liked it being used on animals, but let alone a 3-year-old child. It's completely crazy. I've grown accustomed to it at this point. It's been 6 months of living in a world where things have gone batshit crazy. But either way, my friend Jonathan has also started coming to visit the science lab. Although he is allowed to be there and I am supposed to be at home. Sneaking through my window has gotten increasingly harder, considering that people tend to think that I'm breaking into my own home. Which I'm not, by the way. But my mom is working more often than not, so recently I've just started going in the front door. I'm trying everything I can to figure something out because this past 6 months has been the worst 6 months of my life, and I don't know what the hell is happening. I lost my dad, and now my mom is part of the exact same military that he died from, with no regard for life at all. All I want to do is help. But at the same time, I'm 18. And I'm supposed to be learning how to be an adult, but instead I'm trying to figure out why the hell a 3-year-old is chewing on her own leg. I'm panicking internally, I think. I don't know what a life crisis feels like, and I'm definitely not middle-aged, so this can't be a midlife crisis, but it can definitely be a quarter life crisis. So I think I'm having a quarter life crisis in the moment. But anyway, that's the most update I have for now. I'll update you when I have a chance, but I make no promises as I might be working in the science lab more often. Anyway, this is Losers.